and is this self that we see in everybody. We see it in the eyes, in the faces, and the hearts, and in the actions of other people. So what action are we taking today? Well, the first thing we've done is gather. This is not a small thing, this is a big deal. This summit is a living thing. And as we move forward, we are guaranteeing you that we will eradicate institutionalized violence towards women and girls, permanently, worldwide, and in our lifetime. Perhaps some of you are my age or older, from the 1960s, that makes us in our 60s. So before we drop off the planet, this has to get done. We're not even outraged about the torture of women. We help to make it happen. We are simply saying, it's enough. We draw the line here, and we say it's over. We say it. Yogis are saying it. From our science of reality, from our strength individually and collectively, from our commitment to the karma yoga to take action, we say it's over. The time has come. These barbaric practices end now, right now. And while we may be very gentle as we meditate, we are very fierce in our actions. We simply will not tolerate this anymore. And over the next 2 years, as this summit grows, as we develop strategies and more initiatives, I guarantee you we will not tolerate this institutionalized violence anywhere in the world. We will stand up, we will be seen, we will expose the unseen. And this is the hardest part. Please take a moment right now and imagine this. With our meditative minds, imagine it. Somewhere in the world right now is a young girl. Maybe she's 6 years old. You don't know her. You will never meet her. If you did, maybe it's not even a pretty girl who would engage you and you think she's so cute. I really want to adopt this girl. Maybe someone you don't even like. But imagine this girl. Is she going to be tortured, raped, mutilated, sold? Will you allow it? That's not rhetorical. That's a yes or a no. And if it's a yes, my friends, you have to eat it. It's your consequence. And if it's a no, you have to stand up to it and stand behind it. And don't misunderstand me, there are lots of causes in the world. Lots of causes. All of them worthwhile. As citizens of the world, it's our duty to pay attention and try and correct injustice of every kind. To adjust and improve our planet, of course. But we have chosen this specific and concrete goal, not above other causes, because it's not a cause. It's something we've identified as yogis and have said at the core of all humanity. If this still takes place, there is no humanity. Let's talk yogically for a moment. Underneath all of this yoga, in the Eastern tradition, it would be called Shakti, this energy that underlies everything, the entire universe, this female energy. It's not a woman, it's the female energy. It's not an energy that's better than another energy, but it's the energy that underlies everything, that creates everything, that's inside you. Why would we humiliate that? Why would we betray it? Why in this 21st century would we ever allow it to be degraded? We won't. It's that simple. And the first step towards that is to talk about it. To talk about this awful subject. Something nobody wants to think about or talk about. That at this very moment, in this year, in 2012, in the 21st century, there are 100 million women who will be mutilated. Millions and millions of women will be raped as a strategy of war on a mass scale. Not simply domestic violence, but on a mass planned scale. Something terrible to think about, unimaginable. And yet it's happening, so we need to talk about it. Female genital mutilation is happening. We need to talk about it. Women are being bought and sold not just as prostitutes, which we can respect, but against their will, as slaves. We have to talk about it. And that's our first step, is to be aware of this, to be aware of the unseen women. Not the ones who are next door to us, not the ones we see on the news, but the ones that we will never see. Now, CNN does a very good job of reporting on slavery. Their slavery project is excellent. Look it up. Nicely done. It's a first step. The Stephen Lewis Foundation does a wonderful job of exposing mutilation and rape of women in Africa. Look it up. Don't just look within the city to our domestic scenario. Look to the unseen women, the millions of unseen women. Think of them in your meditation, in your world, in your day, in your life. And please, make this commitment to talk about it. To talk about this awful subject that no one would like to think about. It's unpleasant. And besides, it's over there. It's those people. But this is the 21st century. And what happens in Kenya happens here. What happens in Delhi happens here. What happens in a little village somewhere in Africa, in China, in India, in Malaysia, in South America, in Mexico, happens here. And what happens here happens there. So when we talk about it, we are exposing something far away. And when we do something about it, we are uplifting something far away. And after a while, we create unity. So what I'm asking everybody here to do is to create unity. Unity with us and people all over the world by talking about this. By taking some action. Sign the proclamation and spread it so that people are taking that stand. But also as a community in Toronto to unify. It's just yoga. A lot of people stretching, reflexing, and looking good. Good exercise. But the purpose of yoga is the enlightenment of the self. The enlightenment in the 21st century of a group of selves. So let's unite the community in Toronto. Not studios joining a collective, not individuals having to sign up for something, nothing being sold, nothing being bought, no competition. People don't even have to agree with their particular approaches and principles. Yoga techniques, does the hand go this way? Does the hand go that way? Not important. But a unity behind service on a grand scale. A unity of commitment to activism. And a unity that there shall not be permitted in our care, in our knowledge, the institutionalized mutilation, degradation of women and girls anywhere in the world. That this shall be permanent. And it happens in our lifetimes. It happens now. That's my call. My call is to each of you to talk about it. Talk about it in your conversations with your friends, with your family, with your students and colleagues and teachers. To bring unity globally as we think about this and talk about it, and pay attention. When you think about Toronto, also think about the rest of the world. We see demonstrations happening in Egypt. But in the village that you don't see, where 400 women are being raped. That's what we think about. That's what we expose. And unity right here in Toronto. Unity among all the yogis to stand up, stand out, and speak out on this subject, among others. To be of service, to be activist. And I want to make sure that there's no misunderstanding on this. We are feminists. I don't know where that word became ugly. Somewhere in the last 30 years, feminism became this word nobody likes to use. It's fantastic. We're all feminists. Men and women have equal rights, have equal opportunity, have equal law, equal justice. we are all feminists. Let's bring the word back a little bit. Let's not be blindsided by right-wing nonsense, religious nonsense, and let's bring this idea forward where it belongs. Feminism is not a dirty word. Feminism is not a word that belongs to women. It belongs to humanity, because so long as men and women are not equal, we can't move forward. In the early 1900s, women began to vote. What took so long? I don't know. It was a strange thing. In the 1960s, bras were burned, so women could say it's time to liberate women, and therefore liberate the world. Good stand. Well, we'll continue it now. My teacher used to say, from Woodstock we have steel stock. So we go from the era of the 60s, where there was an attitude of liberation, to real liberation now. So let's go back to that vision. Think about another 6-year-old girl. One more time. A girl you will never meet, a girl you might not even like, a girl who might not like you. She might not think you have any right to even talk to her or look at her. But imagine her for just a moment. And at this moment, through your karma yoga, through your commitment, promise her, you will not be mutilated, you will not be tortured, you will not be sold. I won't allow it. That's what we're saying. And as Yoga Without Borders, we're making this commitment global. And we're asking you to start in your own mind, in your own family, in your own community, and as one community. So thank you very much for coming. Thank you for listening. Thank you for participating. And please go forward.